Thank you for joining the Getting Better Products to Market Faster webinar. I'm Yvonne Sims, the Senior Manager of Global Marketing at KPIT. Before we get started, I wanted to review a few housekeeping items. This webinar will last 30 minutes followed by Q&A. Should you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type your questions in the chat. Our panelists will see and respond to your question at the end. This webinar will be recorded and made available afterwards. Without further delay, I will now hand the webinar over to David Bartlett of KPIT.
Thanks so much, Yvonne. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started now by introducing myself. My name is David Bartlett, and I'm with KPIT. It is my pleasure to be speaking to you today about PLM to ERP integration. I myself have worked in PDM and PLM space for over 20 years now, and I've been focused primarily on solution delivery and R&D. In regards to my R&D focus, it's primarily around finding solutions that add significant value to the already existing PLM framework, and one of those solutions is PLM to ERP integration, which is near and dear to my heart. Okay, next I'm going to give you a quick introduction to KPIT, especially for those unfamiliar with them. Here are a few quick facts about KPIT. I'll first highlight the fact that we are a global IT consulting and product engineering partner focused on co-innovating domain-intensive technology solutions for corporations specializing in automotive and transportation, manufacturing, and energy and utilities. With the 10,000 plus strong team, we work at the forefront of technology and processes to help global corporations become more productive, integrated, and innovative enterprises. I'll emphasize the integrated part since that is what the focus of our webinar today is going to be on. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're organized. You can see here we are organized into 3 industry business units and 7 strategic business units, which are spread across 4 geographies. You can also see that we have strategic business units focused on the most major ERP technologies such as Oracle and SAP. I also wanted to note here that our extended PLM business unit has strategic partnerships with most all leading PLM technologies, such as Oracle, Siemens, PTC, and others. Alrighty, let's dive right in and talk about the business problem now that many of you may be trying to address within your businesses. I'm going to start out by emphasizing that today's products are multidimensional in nature, and they have more software and electronics in them than ever before. These very complex product structures must be managed throughout the entire product lifecycle from conception all the way to the end of life. Any changes which impact the product structure typically impact your manufacturing BOM, your router, or perhaps even your work instructions, which typically do reside in your ERP production system. Therefore, we believe the integration between your PLM system and your ERP system is mission critical. Now I want to discuss the bridge, which is necessary to integrate PLM and ERP. This is where the 2 systems clearly intersect. This intersection is typically at the point of new product introduction or any change to an existing item or product. What we typically find is that many companies are addressing this with semi-automated homegrown integrations, through manual effort, or perhaps even with third-party solutions, which in some cases were not necessarily built to address this business problem. The key takeaway here is that the 2 need to work in harmony to provide a single source of truth for your business. I'm going to now transition into talking about what are the potential data mappings with any PLM to ERP integration. Your PLM system is typically creating things like your item master, your bill of materials, and any associated digital assets. That data must be synchronized with your ERP system. And in most cases, you'll have an ERP source controlled data like cost, quantity on hand, and lead time, which needs to be synchronized back to your PLM system. So this product data must remain consistent between PLM and ERP, especially since it's the basis for making the right decisions and manufacturing the correct product. By having a single source of truth, you're able to provide a holistic view of the entire product throughout its entire life cycle. So, at KPIT, we had a vision to create a PLM agnostic connector which integrated with specific leading ERP applications. The connector had to be built to support bidirectional data flow and have a powerful dynamic mapping capability. We also believed the interface had to be an independent, packaged implementation that improve the data integrity between PLM and ERP while also reducing the overall cost for an organization. The connector should be built to handle any error correction logic and be able to apply ERP-specific template data as required. We also wanted to ensure upgrade compatibility by leveraging standard ERP application APIs. And most importantly, we wanted to ensure the ease of use and rapid user adoption, so we leveraged the ERP graphical user interface and forms. So we set out to create iLink, the PLM adapter for ERP. Having your PLM and ERP systems out of sync can create challenges throughout the inventory and order management process. Our goal at KPIT was to eliminate the uncertainties around data integrity between PLM and your ERP system. We wanted to enable change management from engineering down to production and warehousing. Our iLink solution is PLM agnostic and integrates with major ERP providers such as SAP, JDE Enterprise One, and Oracle e-Business Suite. You can see here on the graphic, we are passing information such as part master information, manufacturing part, bill of material, and change order information over to the ERP system. And also, we have bidirectional capabilities where we're sending back things like costs, lead time, and quantity on hand from ERP to PLM. I'm now going to review a few key features of our iLink solution. I'll start with the fact that our solution is built on existing ERP technology. Most organizations have multiple ERP inventory organizations or branch plants, which the PLM data needs to propagate down into. We are able to support multi-org and multi-branch plant organizations fully. I also want to highlight the fact that our solution doesn't require any additional hardware or middleware. And I'll repeat that. We are middleware agnostic, so we don't care if you're using FTP, TIBCO, BizTalk, SOA, or any other enterprise service bus. We can work with your current middleware solution as it's simply a transport layer to our solution. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the fact that our solution is not only simple to install, but also simple to use and simple to maintain, which was our goal from the outset. Now we are going to show you a quick iLink marketing video, which will be followed by some sample case studies and specific product demonstrations.
Having your PLM and ERP systems out of sync can create challenges throughout the inventory and order management process. KPIT brings a proven, economical solution. KPIT's iLink PLM adapter solves the integration challenge by connecting leading PLM applications to ERP. iLink facilitates real-time bidirectional flow between your ERP and the PLM. iLink improves the quality of data, reduces organizational inefficiencies, reduces costs, and offers real-time reporting. iLink provides seamless ERP to PLM integration. iLink is native ERP technology, which means your team can support it. It's easy to install and customize. It provides real-time, closed-loop updates and has no-cost upgrades. With an average 3-month deployment on a fixed bid basis, it's simple and easy to deploy. It also supports CRM integration. iLink has the proven lowest total cost of ownership. With over 50 successful implementations, find out if iLink is right for your organization. kpit.com/iLink.
The first version of our iLink product that I'll review with you is our iLink for Oracle e-Business Suite. This is deployed as a custom top application. It's built using PL SQL, runs as a concurrent request set, leverages Oracle Forms-based GUI interface. It has custom responsibilities for our iLink administration role, and it creates and implements ECOs inside of our e-Business Suite. We're going to show a quick demonstration of Oracle Agile PLM integrated with Oracle e-Business Suite, but please remember our solution is PLM agnostic, so this could be coming from PTC Windchill, Siemens Teamcenter, or other PLM systems. However, this demo will show you Agile PLM to Oracle e-Business Suite.
For this demonstration, we prepared a change order, and in this change order we're making a revision to an existing assembly that's had a quality issue identified with an adhesive in it. We can see here that a description of the change and reason for the change have been identified, and it's been set to a reason code for quality. If we take a look at the changes inside of the change order, we're making a revision to an existing assembly and releasing a new part along with this assembly, which is a high-strength adhesive to address the quality issue. If we take a look at the assembly, we can see a couple of changes have been made. We've removed the existing medium strength Loctite and added a high strength Loctite in response to the quality issue. We've also changed one of the components and increased the quantity associated with it. All right, so now we're going to take a look at releasing this change into the Oracle EBS system using iLink. We'll go ahead and complete the change order by transferring this to released. Now that this has been released, we use the automated transfer orders set up in the Oracle system in order to generate an XML which represents the change order and pass that along to the iLink system. We can view that by viewing the automated transfer order relationship to the change itself. And on the automated transfer order, we can see this is going to be sent to the EBS system. If we refresh this page, we can see that it's been successfully sent. Now, bringing up an FTP client, we can take a look at the view of the EBS system. If we refresh this, we see that the automated transfer order has created an AXML representation of the change, which will be used in order to push the changes into the Oracle EBS system. So now let's switch to looking at the EBS system. As part of the iLink application, we have created a responsibility in Oracle for the iLink interface user. As part of that user's responsibility, we have a series of forms that have been set up in the system for reviewing the changes synchronized using iLink. Inside of these forms, we have a submit interface, which is used for manually starting the process, which we'll use today. Typically, this process is ran as a background process and does not require any user intervention. But for purposes of this demonstration and walking through the details, we'll go ahead and submit this manually. iLink operates as a custom request set and with a set of concurrent programs which identify, interrogate, and validate the data being pushed from the PLM system and then process out of EBS. All right, so we'll go ahead and search for the request set. Here, if we take a look at the request set, there's a couple steps involved. First step is the pre-interface process, which identifies and cleans up any old synchronized data which may need to get reprocessed. Then we identify the new data that may have been uploaded, interrogate the XMLs associated with those data, and then we take a look at creating any items necessary in the EBS system along with any associated manufacturing part number information, and generate the ECO in order to propagate any changes that go along to those parts, including BOM changes. Once that is complete, the interface status report is sent out, and an email confirming that it was successfully processed or an error has occurred is sent to those configured users. So let's go ahead and start this process. Now that this has been completed, while this is running, let's take a look at some of the other interface forms present inside of iLink. We have a dynamic data mapping table, which is used to configure any translation of data that may need to occur in between PLM and ERP. Here we can see that we're defining a custom set of commodity codes that are present inside of Oracle Agile and mapping them to the correct values inside of EBS. This allows for business users to continue administrating the system without any technical resources to modify the underlying code. We also use this table to have some configuration of preferences, like what default email addresses the confirmation of successes should be sent to, default time zones, and other information that may need to be configured in each EBS iLink instance. In addition to the dynamic data mapping fields, we also have several interface forms to review the data that's been coming through iLink. Using the data file review form, we can take a look at the individual files that have been processed by the iLink application, including if it was successfully processed or if an error occurred and when that date occurred, and the file that the transfer came under. If we then take a look, we also have an ECO interface where we can see the changes that have been passed through the system recently. Here we see the revision change that we had just released early in this demonstration. We can also take a look at the manufacturing part numbers and the items that have been synchronized. And here we see the assembly that was revised and the part that was introduced into the system. So now we'll navigate and take a look at the engineering change order that we pushed through using iLink. And here we see that the ECO has been created, the reason code has been passed over, and the description has been passed over from the Oracle Agile system. We can also take a look at the revised items as a part of this engineering change order and see that we have revised the assembly to A2 and introduced a new part. We can also take a look at the components which have been changed as part of this engineering change order. We see that we have removed the previous medium strength Loctite and added the high strength Loctite and changed the quantity associated with the set screws. Now let's take a look at the item inventory and take a look at the changes that have been pushed over. Close this form and again switch responsibilities into the inventory responsibility. Part of this, we can go ahead and make a search for the item that's been passed over. You can see the assembly has been passed over, including the various details of the component that's been defined in Agile, including the template that was used to create the system and the unit of measure.
Next, I want to review another one of our iLink solution, which is iLink for J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. This is built on custom UBEs and C business functions. It runs on a scheduled basis to take in changes. It's native JDE application interfaces. It utilizes standard Z-table reports for item master creation, and it also creates and implements the ECOs in J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. So now we will show you a demonstration of PTC's Windchill product integrated with Oracle J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. And once again, I'll just remind you that this could be PLM agnostic, but it's specific to J.D. Edwards Enterprise One.
So we have our review application inside of J.D. Edwards for iLink, which allows us to review the changes being pushed as part of the iLink integration. Here we see an ECO that was just released outside of from Windchill and pushed into the J.D. Edwards system. We can see that it was the date it was processed, the fact that it was successful, any errors would be reported here, and what the file name of the XML that exposed this change was. We then have three different views in order to view more information. The first is this high-level view of the XML files coming in that contain the changes. We can also review the items individually that have come over as part of the change. Here you can see the end capacitor assembly that we revised and the additional high-strength Loctite that just got pushed in successfully. And the last view that we have is a review of the actual ECOs and ECO representation. Here we see the ECO that was pushed over, including the description and the fact that it was successful. We can then review the information about this ECO. Here we see that we had to push changes to both the D30 and the M30 branches inside of J.D. Edwards, and that there was a J.D. Edwards ECO that's created along with it. As part of the iLink application, we create and automatically implement a J.D. Edwards engineering change order side by side the Windchill change order, so that way there's traceability of the changes that are being synced between the two systems. We can also see that the same quality reasoning code that was defined inside of Windchill and some of the other details are also present inside of this review table. Here we can take a further look at the assemblies that are associated as part of this and see that we are pushing changes into this new revision of the assembly. We can then see the components that were changed as a part of this. Here we take a look and see that there were no changes to most of the items. However, there was a removal of the medium strength Loctite. There was a change of the set screws to increase the quantity and the addition of a new high strength Loctite. All right, once we're done reviewing this, we can go ahead and take a look at how this got pushed into the J.D. Edwards system. From here, we can take a jump directly into the ECO in J.D. Edwards. And we can see here that the ECO has been created and that we have a cross-reference to the change notice number out of Windchill. We can then review the details of the parts affected by this change order and see here that we had to change the BOM by changing the components that are affected by the BOM changes. We had the high strength Loctite, which is a new child component of a BOM. We have changed the set screws and we have removed the medium strength Loctite from a BOM. And the same applies to both the M30 and D30 branches. We then can review that and see that this change has taken effect on the end capacitor assembly, which was revised. All right, now let's take a look at the item masters that got pushed in. All right, so here we see the assembly that got pushed over into the system. We can take a look at the details. We see here that we have the description and details pushed over from the Windchill system. We also have the stocking type, which is generated based off of the template, which is defined in the Windchill system when the part was created. And we have some information that was passed along in terms of the commodity code or the category code that the parts come into that was also defined and pushed from the Windchill system. We then can take a look at the branches associated with this and see that this was created in both the D30 and the M30 branch plants inside of J.D. Edwards. If we'd like, we can now take a look at the BOM that's associated with this part as well. So now we can see that a BOM has been updated for this assembly that got pushed from the windshield system. Let's take a look at that. Here we can see that the set screws have been updated and that we have the various components as a member of this BOM. Now, because this effectivity was pushed out, we need to take a look at a later date, and we'll see that the high-strength Loctite has been introduced based on the effectivity defined in the PLM system.
Now I'm going to show you a third product of our iLink solution, which is iLink for SAP. This is built on ABAP and BAPI technology. It runs on a scheduler to take in changes. It's built using native SAP interfaces, and it creates the material master directly and utilizes the EC for BOM details and revisioning. Now we're going to show you a demonstration of PLM to SAP integration coming from Oracle Agile PLM in this specific scenario.
For this demonstration, I prepared a change order, which is revising an existing assembly due to some quality issues which have been identified. If we take a look at the change that's been prepared, we'll see here that the description says we're revising the assembly due to quality issues, and this is due to the adhesive and an issue with the adhesive that needs to be replaced with a high-strength adhesive. So let's take a look at the changes that are occurring on here. When reviewing the changes, we see that we're revising the assembly, and when we review the BOM changes, red lines, we see that we're removing a medium-strength Loctite and adding a high-strength Loctite, and adjusting the number of set screws in the assembly from 6 to 7. Now that this change has been complete, let's go ahead and release this into the SAP system. By navigating the workflow, I'll approve the change and release it into the SAP system. Now that the change has been released, the Agile system is set up to generate an automated change order and transfer the change as an AXML to the SAP system. We can navigate to that automated change order and review that this has been completed. Now that this has been completed, we'll go ahead and navigate and take a look at the SAP system. Once iLink has been configured in the SAP system, there are two interfaces that can be used when in the application. We have the iLink application interface and the status monitor. Before we begin, we'll take a look at and see that the change has been passed over to the SAP system. Reviewing the SAP directories, we can take a look at the iLink incoming directory and see in the input files I've had a change order that's been synchronized. So now let's take a look at the iLink interfaces. When we take a look at the iLink interface, typically the iLink application runs as a background application which is ran on a periodic basis as defined by the administrator. For purposes of this demonstration, however, I'm going to go ahead and run the application manually in order to step through the process that occurs when iLink is passing information between the Oracle Agile system and the SAP system. Here we'll choose to go ahead and display the file contents so we can see the details of what's going on during the synchronization. And we'll run the application. We can see as part of the change, that as part of running the iLink application, that there's a change object and we reckon that's been passed over. And we can see all of the details of the checks that are ran as part of the import of the changes into the SAP system. Here we can see that all of these items have been carried out without any problems and should go in successfully. Now that this has been completed, we'll go ahead and finish the iLink import process of this new component. We can now see that the iLink application has updated the assembly and the materials that are referenced by the assembly, and see that a change has successfully been created in the SAP system. Now let's take a look in the SAP system now that the items have been synchronized. We'll begin by taking a look at the change. We see here that a change has been created, and we have the cross-reference to the change in the Agile system for being able to identify and which changes were resulting from the changes in the PLM system. We also see that the date has been configured and that the reason for the change has been passed through to the SAP system. If we review the details of the change, we can see here that the assembly itself has been modified as one of the objects that have been updated as part of the change. And we can also see the object description as part inside of the ECR details. So now let's take a look at the actual item itself. Jumping into looking at the material, we can see that it has been created inside of the system, and some of the details have been passed along from the PLM system, including the description and unit of measure. Now we'll go ahead and jump and take a look at the bill of materials that was passed over as part of iLink. Reviewing the BOM, we'll go ahead and search for the component, and here we see that the changes have been synchronized into the system. We see that the component has been replaced and that we now have only the high strength Loctite replaced from the medium strength Loctite that was previously on it, in addition to the defectivity being set on all the components. Now that we've successfully finished reviewing the bill of materials inside of the SAP system, let's take a look at the other interface that's offered with the iLink application. As part of iLink, there includes a status monitor, which can be used in order to review the details of the transactions being passed between Agile and SAP. Inside of this interface, we can specify a particular change number, change record inside of SAP, import status to look for errors or warnings, or create a date. Here we'll take a look at the change that we just passed over. We see here in the import status monitor that it was successfully transferred, and the ECR that was generated inside of SAP, along with the PLM ECO, the date, and some details associated with it. We can double click this change and review what was changed as part of this. We can see that the bill of material for the assembly was successfully updated, and the change number that was created.
So now that you've seen a quick overview of our solution, I wanted to also give you some of the benefits of a seamless automated integration that has real-time bidirectional synchronization. So by having an integrated solution between your PLM and ERP, you will see things such as improved data quality and accuracy. You will have reliable closed-loop transaction management, better adherence to design intent and customer requirements, and you can do all this with a low-cost fixed-price product and deployment. This integration will synchronize bill of materials, items and revisions, engineering change orders, manufacturer parts, and even product quality problem reports. So now that you've seen our products, I'll talk about one case study here with a customer called Qualcomm. They were using a legacy adapter and replaced that adapter with our KPIT's iLink adapter. They needed to drastically enhance the mission-critical integration flow between Agile PLM and Oracle E-Business Suite. They leveraged the iLink adapter to quickly and significantly improve data reliability, the performance, and the automation, and they reduced synchronization errors and manual user intervention. And one of the great quotes I like to talk about is from Todd Davison, IT manager at Qualcomm, who iLink has greatly improved the quality of our Agile to Oracle E-Business integration, reducing the IT support time while providing better support and throughput for Qualcomm's engineering community. I want to thank everybody very much for attending today's webinar. And once again, if you need additional details, you can feel free to contact me, David Bartlett, at kpit.com.